Bayonetta is insane. I'm not gonna lie, when I think of Bayonetta, she has super strength, a martial arts fighter, and she's got mastery of magic of all sorts with martial arts, and it's got raw physical strength on top of it. That's basically Bayonetta in a nutshell. She can slow down time to increase her fighting speed. She's a gunslinger, magic witchy type character that can fuse with her demons that she usually summons to stack her demon's power on top of her own power to hit a mid combo like that. She doesn't feel like something she can just stomp you like that from a portal, Wicked Weave style. She knows new spells that can make her summons go Super Saiyan like Madama Butterfly turning into a mountain-sized version of herself, but I'm gonna get to that stuff in 2 seconds. Bayonetta, let's get it. The guns Bayonetta has in Bayonetta 3 are so crazy. Of course, witches in this universe can use magic bullet arts to where their shots are a lot stronger than normal guns. But it's another thing to know is that these guns are like cannons, or laser pistols. Rodin really outdid himself on this gun. With the revelation of the new game, it's confirmed that all 3 are from separate universes, but they have very similar histories. Confirmed that the guns that Bayonetta used in Bayonetta 2, the video game, are from another Bayonetta. And Bayonetta's weapons dealer in all these games is only one of Rodin, and he was selling basically weapons to other Bayonettas throughout the multiverse. The Bayonetta from Bayonetta Universe 1, they even confirm that their worlds are very similar. Same with Bayonetta 2. They even go as far as mentioning that they almost have it exactly alike appearance and fighting styles. They even saying they seem to have walked the identical path. They all kind of walked a similar path anyway, so it's almost like it's still the same person almost. Despite all of these Bayonettas having their own histories, their paths of history are so close together, I don't feel like there's a need to make these characters separate videos. What if I told you there was some time travel stuff in Bayonetta to where, because she was chilling with other time displaced versions of herself, like a little version of her like this Cereza from Bayonetta 1, the little version? Notice the similar hairstyle on how she grew up to end up becoming probably the strongest Bayonetta in the multiverse. Yeah, time travel stuff where 2 Bayonettas was hanging out with each other, one older one younger one, and they actually reunited again. And these 2 basically met again. That's awesome. Time travel, multiverse type stuff. You gotta love it. Now let's get it. Let's be honest. All 3 Bayonetta have fought beings that threaten an entire universe before. So they gotta be somewhere in range of power. Later on in this video, I'm gonna show a little footage of them fighting them, but you guys already know the deal. The first Bayonetta fought literally Jubilees. This one fought literally the god of chaos, aka the god of the human realm, the whole universe. And then in the new Bayonetta game, she had to fight this being known as Singularity. It's literally stated this being could be considered the universe itself. I'm going to get into that crazier feat stuff later on in this vid. I just wanted to let it be known right off gate in the vid that every single Bayonetta has fought like literal gods, universal level threats, or even one could argue multiversal level threats. But let's get it. Lumen Sages and Umbra Witches, 2 clans that are not supposed to get together, but guess what? The Lumen Sage clan and the Umbra Witch clan, 2 of them got together and created the main character we know and love as Bayonetta, both being powerful in their own right. Calling her superhuman would be an understatement. One of her main techniques is witch time. I think we all can agree this is one of the biggest aspects on why her combat speed or fighting speed is so insane. Might as well call her doggone close to speedsters. On top of witch time, she uses pistols, heck, even on her feet. How they're able to stay on her feet, I don't know how, maybe some sort of magical spell or something. She's also unnaturally tall. She can summon creatures from a whole nother dimension, and even if she doesn't want to summon them to a whole nother dimension, she can summon like pieces of their limbs, like her trusted ally Madama Butterfly, for example. Like you can see like the little magical portal opening up. Like this is something commonly see magical people do. Madama Butterfly can punch through the portal and kind of match her movement she's doing in the real world, stuff like that. And here's an occasion of witch time, like I was talking about, everything literally slowing down to help her attack, helps her combat speed. Bayonetta has all these summons, but she does not need these summons to be a threat. She's physically on par, or even one could even say she's physically stronger than most of these summons. It's just like a helpful aid in battlefields. When one of her summons went berserk, she actually had to start flying with wings she summoned to fight her own creature that turned against her, showing that she can fight on par and even maybe defeat her summons, because she does have other summons after all. She can summon infernal creatures, and she can summon literal torture devices, like actual devices to cut you up if she doesn't want to summon creatures. Like, that's sadistic. Some of these torture attacks are just ridiculous. Look at all of this. Grind you. Like, do you see this? Literal spanking torture attacks. Stuff like this, literally riding their beast. These are basically finishers, one could say. Like, she's physically just a threat. Literally in a cage, whips, literally surfing on them, torture devices. Ouch. Ouch. Like cooking you like an oven. And she can just spank you with Madama Butterfly summon in her arms. Thanks, Madama. I think it's pretty obvious she has a lot of ways she can take you on. Her guns too, different weapons she can summon out of absolutely nowhere thanks to the magic satchel. That can be probably due to video game mechanics, but that could possibly be a part of her lore, having multiple weapons to be able to summon them because she is magical. Magic satchel would actually make sense for her situation. She has a raw strength and a lot of magical power, and she can summon entities. You're probably thinking she's not strong. She has to summon creatures to do her dirty work. No, she's physically a beast, which I'm going to show you quite a bit. But she can also actually fuse with the entity she summoned and add both of their strengths together. So any feats of me bringing up some summons feats in this video, it is going to apply to Bayonetta, but better because she can literally become one with them. This is how she looks when she becomes one with Madama Butterfly demon that she always summons. Who would have ever thought they would have made a game where she can become one with her Godzilla type demon Gamora? Imagine being in a fight with this Bayonetta and she just randomly transforms to any of these summons literally in a hybrid form, fusing with a frog demon or the spider demon, a demon that's a literal train, a flying demon, puppet-like demon with a bat-like demon, a plant-based type demon, a demon mixed with a whole bunch of other BS put together looking like a centaur fusion. All these entities she can fuse with, even a Kraken type demon. No, I'm not playing. When I say fuse, I actually mean fuse together. The summons and her become one, literally. You can visually see them looking like one being. Yeah, so anything they do, she can do, or one can say better because they combine their powers. And the fact that she can fuse so fast in an instant when she feels like it. And the fact that she can open a portal and make a big fish come through even though she's currently fused with the same entity. How she's fused with the being, but yet you see this like little magic circle come through and a little fish still comes through like normal, like a wicked weed from the last game. In the lore about demon masquerades, about how they fuse, they talk about how they can channel the souls of demons to transform and greatly enhance physical ability. So it's like their demon strength plus their own witch's magic strength that she already had. Part of it is thanks to her standard gear called Color My World. It helps her channel the demon's power, these special guns, to be able to literally transform and fuse with the entity. If I had to bet money, I bet you Bayonetta 1 and Bayonetta 2 can fuse with their demons now at this point in time, depending on how you look at it. If Popstar 1 can fuse with their demon too, maybe if we see Bayonetta 1 and Bayonetta 2, maybe they'll be able to have some form of demon masquerade. We'll see. We'll just have to wait and see though, won't we? She also knows an ancient magical art to where if the Infernal Demon doesn't want to actually fight, she can force them to fight like a literal slave. Because Infernal Demons are usually fighting on their own when she summons them to finish off an opponent. But if they're not fighting angels, they won't necessarily fight it. She has to literally force them to do it. Literally slave. It's actually in the narrative talking about how if it ain't the demon's slave, it's an ancient art they thought was lost for good, but this version of Bayonetta seems to know it. And it appears in this game she seems to have a decent healing factor. Being literally impaled this bad, it didn't end her, showing that she's a lot more resilient, or one could say she might know some healing spells to heal real fast or something of that sort. Think of Bayonetta like a magician gunslinger. She has the pistols on her hands and her feet, probably using some type of magic to be able to do that. She's a physical powerhouse. She can use her hair like a magical conduit to open portals from literal hell to summon demons to do combos on her villains with her. They call these attacks wicked weaves. Like you literally see the portal appear out of nothing. You see a giant hand come through it. Take the word magic satchel as you will because it applies to her. She's like a gunslinger magician. Well, they do call her Umbra Witch. Females that know how to use magic, right? I mean, look what happens when you Google the definition of witch. I'm just saying. If you're still skeptical about her physical strength, how about the fact she kicked a literal jet in the air with her kicking strength and then jumped that high in the air and literally headbutt a building. Are you joking? A freaking building. During a fight with her dad, this piece of an antenna rolls it like that. Super strength. During one of the final bosses of the game, of course. This gigantic satellite, Bayonetta can literally move it with her strength. Look at the gigatons it says. That's actually a real unit of measurement, by the way. Like, look at that. Just tosses that back. She caught a tram car with her physical strength. Like, this is casual work. One of her mini boss battles. She literally used a piece of a building as a weapon. Like, look at this mess. You see her spinning this crap around, bruh? Stupid physical strength. She's consistently fighting beings way bigger than her and even being able to lift them up while she fights them. Like, do you see this? She can lift buildings and she does it again, slamming them literally over the top strength, showing her strength even more. Talking about power. This same being she can throw in a battle feat. Like, this stuff looks effortless to her. Like, look at this. Can throw it that high in the air. Physicals. This would mean that Bayonetta should be able to lift 200 tons at the very least based on just throwing them giant angelic beings that far. But when it comes to her satellite moving feat, that should put her even higher when it comes to just lifting power in general. Being able to move a massive satellite like this with her strength kind of proves she can kind of move mountains with her raw strength, meaning she should be able to lift at least 1 billions or billions of tons in general just because of that feat alone. I mean, mountains can get pretty heavy. I mean, you can even Google the weight of Mount Everest, and this is what pops up. So mountains can get pretty freaking heavy. There's even more evidence to why she should be able to do this. This is actually considered low-end levels of strength based on the beings she fights, but I'm gonna get to that in a second. But when it comes to her raw speed, you already know how crazy fast she is thanks to witch time. But even without witch time, her raw speed in general is insane. But even these bullets being all the way behind her like that, still is able to react to that speed, slowing down time to a crawl to where bullets are like literally not even moving. This is crazy combat speed. See what I mean? On top of her slowing time to a crawl like this, makes her basically a speedster. Her witch time can make a literal explosion freeze in place. All this is happening in witch time, my dude. She had an entire boss battle in 5 freaking seconds because of witch time, guys. You gotta have some dang near light speed fighting speed to even fight this girl Bayonetta. After the boss battle was over, she decided to back to the helicopter she originally was supposed to go to in the first place, like with her allies, before it took off. Like, she said, I'm gonna handle this real quick. Literally had a whole boss battle. Look at her speed, dodging at the last second. She's literally a speedster. She can move while in witch time. Look at the tidal wave. She can literally freeze time like this and even move, so it's basically like having super speed like a speedster. Also applies to her perception as well. Bayonetta consistently can keep up with beings like Balder, who is described to be able to move with the swiftness of light. There's 2 ways to look at Bayonetta's speed: real time and witch time. She doesn't need witch time to have superhuman reflexes, but witch time just makes those superhuman reflexes even worse. Kind of like how Hit has fast reflexes without his time manipulating ability time skip, but his time manipulating ability time skip ability on top of reflexes makes him dang near almost impossible to touch. That's kind of how Bayonetta is. She's super fast in real time, but then she can stack it with witch time to slow down time itself. But she's not getting slowed down at all. In this fight, for example, you can see her going in witch time, everything's slowing down, but her, it's literally frozen. Like this is ridiculous. She can shoot at you like that. Then she can unfreeze it to where it hits you all at the same time like that. You can see how she's avoiding bullets here without even using witch time because of raw speed. Everything's slowing down just like that, dodging the bullets. Notice how she's fighting another version of herself in martial art abilities, skills, fighting, and etc. You can get an idea of her speed that way. Look how she dodges all of these attacks: nimble, agility. She shoots a bullet, the other her catches the bullet, then she's fast enough to shoot the bullet out of the air without using witch time. She even took a gunshot to the face and was okay afterwards. And these Bayonetta guns are no joke. Look what they can do to crafts. Many occasions fighting her Umbra sister John that's on her level. Speaking of them two fighting each other, I need to go over them two fighting each other in this video. She's like walking through a tornado like it's no big deal with cars and stuff flying. Yeah, but back to her fighting her Umbra sister John. This kind of shows her fighting skills, being able to fight people on her similar level of physical strength and agility and still be able to fight on par with them despite them having similar statistics. Similar combat style and everything with the feat combos. It's actually pretty funny. Fighting really quickly, dodging bullets from each other during the fight. Yep. There's moments in the fight where they clash, where there's actually a measurable system of power being shown on screen. I know this is a game mechanic, but based on the stuff we've seen her do physically, this does not seem much of an exaggeration based on her punching power being able to do this based on the stuff she can lift. You know, it kind of adds up with her strength that I've shown you in the video already. Please remember that 1 gigaton, like on this screen right here at this exact second, it says 150 gigatons, right? Just keep note that just one gigaton, just one, according to the game mechanic, they are implying that she's producing more than 1 gigaton, obviously, but 1 gigaton is equivalent to 1 billion metric tons, letting you know how much force they're really putting out. And make matters worse, the numbers in this scene keep going up with their striking powers, showing how much they're producing. It even goes to 600. If we take what's on screen seriously about the gigaton thing, well, 1 gigaton is basically equivalent to 6 million blue whales of punching power. It's like having a whole bunch of blue whales slamming on top of your face. That's how hard Bayonetta can punch, or strike, or kick, based on them calculations. And that's only 1 gigaton. Remember that particular scene said 600. So based on that cutscene in the game, they are basically confirming that Bayonetta can hit you with the force equivalent to 3,600,000,000 blue whales slamming on top of you with her punches alone, just because of her freaking punching power and strength. Is that ridiculous or what? This little slim lady like this can punch you with the force of 3 billion blue whales landing on top of you. Even though one blue whale already weighs around 200 tons, imagine that times a billion, or 2 billion, or 3 billion. Like, that's how much force she can punch you with. Like, that's ridiculous. She can create air slashes by just cutting the wind real hard. Slice! fighting boss battles like that, showing her power in general. Like, you see what I'm saying? When it comes to her striking power, it's low-key implied she can make her hands glow and kind of enhance her strikes, because when she kicks or punches in certain scenarios, you can see a little glow around her leg when she kicks. And this is not a one-time thing. It's implied she can use her magic power to enhance her blows, kind of like on some Iron Fist type stuff on how he can enhance his blows with energy around his fist, kind of Bayonetta kind of doing something similar to that. In occasions like this, you can kind of see energy around her attacks too, or purple, you know what I mean? It's the same color and everything. It's kind of implied she can put energy around her hands and charge it like that, you know what I mean? Her gear is no joke either. Look at that. Strength. And her gun's able to pierce through solid stuff, like in a heart shape. She's strong enough to kick big building stuff like this down. Like, check out that. And then if we're talking about her physical strength in the animated film, which shouldn't be that much different from her video game self, look at the collateral damage of her striking power, how she does this to the environment. From that far away, you can see the distance. Big old crater. Her strength does that to the ground. She's strong enough to twist your arm into its shatters if you're an angel and you're nowhere near her strength level. She's not afraid of doing wrestling type moves on you because of her strength, using her legs like that to flip you or kick you. You see what I mean? Spine buster! Stupid angel head, your head gets smashed with her punching power. Doesn't even need her weapons to do major damage. She's a physical beast. No matter which continuity we're talking about, even in animation stuff, she still has ridiculous fighting speed and etc. without even using witch time manipulation type stuff. When fighting another Umber witch like herself, she can avoid bullets even when the gun is literally right in her face. She still can dodge it thanks to her fighting speed. There's actually plenty of proof of stuff like this happening throughout her saga. She's reacted and blocked bullets with her literal guns before, during her fight with another Umber Witch on her level like John. Durability. In this occasion, using her sword to deflect the bullets of fighting speed. Even if we're talking about like a large volley of them, she can just keep deflecting it over and over like automatic fire type stuff. Whether we're talking hand to hand or anything of the sort, Bayonetta is consistently a match for her father Balder in raw power. One of the few beings in the saga that's actually shown on-screen feats of actually showing the type of blast power to literally blast apart the moon with an energy blast. This all kind of adds up with Bayonetta. So this kind of confirms that beings in this universe can planet bust. One of the few people that can give her a run for the money in hand-to-hand combat, skills, or just strength in general. Her father's even KO'd her before, like almost equaling each other in power. You don't see Bayonetta take many knockouts either. One of the few times she gets knocked out. The fact that she has a giant hammer and swings it around like nothing, even though it's like literally bigger than her actual body herself, and she's just casually carrying it around. You know what I mean? Respect the power of that hammer. And it can use lightning. Get an idea of the strength of her summons. This building size thing was thrown on her. Bayonetta summons Madama Butterfly to punch it apart, this big structure. In this particular occasion, working together with her mama, they work together to lift this big thing up with raw strength. Family reunion, right? Look, talking about suplexing. Threw it that far too. The fact they can throw it this far lets you know that it's nowhere near their max lifting power. Just the fact that they threw it that far, you know what I mean? She's strong enough to kick big boulders like that. When she parries, she has like this little magical looking barrier type of thing, you know? So one could say she creates like some type of force fields when she blocks. She is pretty magical, right? Understand how strong Madama Butterfly is when it comes to striking force. Because remember what Madama Butterfly did. There was this big old freaking meteor that was about to come down. The fact that Bayonetta summons like Madama Butterfly can do this shows that Bayonetta probably can do physical stuff like this as well, destroying the meteor. This could mean that Bayonetta could have the raw punching power to punch away an entire country. I ain't doubting it. I'm just saying. It's whatever Madama Butterfly can do when it comes to punching power, Bayonetta should be able to do as well. There are just like full-blown God of God type characters. Like no matter what Bayonetta did, she was just no match for some of these gods of God type characters. Like, man, it was crazy seeing her actually get overpowered. And he wasn't even at full power. He even trolls him and said, "Is that the limit of your power?" This infernal being in particular that Bayonetta was fighting was getting stronger and stronger thanks to absorbing John. And there was actually an interesting statement here. This Inferno could have just been feeling herself, but this is what she said about just absorbing one of them. Like John is comparable to Bayonetta in pretty much every aspect. And she said absorbing John, she can feel like she could become the queen of this realm. That means she feels like all she needs to become the queen of this realm, aka Queen Sheba level, is to absorb like either John or Bayonetta tier. That's kind of saying a lot, even though they're still saying that they're not strong as Queen Sheba on their own. They're still saying, all I need is two of them put together, or two Bayonetta tiers put together would be enough, maybe. Who knows? Is that what they're saying? It's a reach. I know it's really no exact science to it, but you get what I'm saying? So what does this mean? I mean, it's hard to really put math on it. What is Bayonetta? 1/4, 1/5 of Queen Sheba's power? Regardless of all that, even if you want to say she's leagues below, which 1/4 of Queen Sheba is still a lot weaker, that would still give Bayonetta props on how much power she can produce based on the lore of these God of God type characters of this universe, like the different deity tiers of this like game's universe. Let me just give you a background on them real quick. You get an idea of the beings that Bayonetta got defeated by. They're actual legit guys. The power he wielded was split into two equal halves and trusted each to humanity's instincts, the right eye of light and the left eye of darkness. By dividing the power of the eyes of Aesir, humans gain free will. They can now choose. Like, he created an actual concept, like the actual concept of free will. Like, these are literal cosmic beings. The eyes themselves, they can be a bit confusing. They literally have the power of creation. With control of the eyes of the world, the eyes determine destiny. The inheritors of the eyes of Aesir had been granted the power of creation. He has dimensional creation. He created a special place to store the great deal of memories he had created. Queen Sheba, Jubileus, Aesir are all around the same level of power, I would say. But Bayonetta actually has fought Jubileus while weakened, so that kind of gives you an idea of Bayonetta's power levels. And you're probably thinking, well, that's a creation feat. Bayonetta can't reality warp and create stuff with the left eye and all that amped up stuff because she's more of a physical type character. That is true, but these gods seem to be physical as well, because you remember that gigaton stuff I showed earlier, which gigaton really is a unit of measurement. What if I told you they show like this gigaton thing showing like these beings like Jubileus or Omni or Queen Sheba striking, kind of showing what they kind of like got some infinite strength, like a literal universe existed inside of her spear, literally confirmed by the writers, like a literal universe. Yeah, I know Jubileus was weakened, but this is still an impressive feat, showing the writers' intent of where they want Bayonetta's power. This is implied to be a whole new dimension created. Even uses her hair to squeeze her, attacking Jubileus like that. Implied to damage her still, though, to some degree. See, it's not something I don't think she can summon all the time, though, but she did summon a god tier person to help her fight. You see the hair from the other end? I'm assuming that's John's hair to help her out. Do you see the numbers? Like the 700 infinton, like this is like what they implying infinite punching power or something? That's why I'm saying their creation abilities to be able to create a universe and their punching power seem to be correlated to they're just physically strong enough to punch away a universe or just create one with their reality warp. You know what I'm saying? Like they're physical too, as well as their creation scale. Big bang bonus. You know what I'm saying? That level punching. Across the entire solar system. A punch that hard. Bayonetta did fight an actual god of God tier character of the verse, like beings that are responsible for creating the different dimensions of the universe and things like that. The Aesir god and stuff, god of chaos, things like that. But you're probably thinking, what is you was weakened? There's no way to possibly scale Jubileus being universal or something, even while weakened. Well, there's actually been fans that ask the writers of these games, is Jubileus universal levels of power while weakened? Like, you know, take this with a grain of salt. The writers more than likely don't really care about power scaling, but who knows, they might. Is Jubileus capable of destroying the entire universe? One of the writers of the games that are important for the game structure said sure. You could take that as you will, but if I was to be honest, I would say Bayonetta should at least be a starbuster. Bayonetta battling her dad, Balder, is a beast, even with his eye amplification, because Bayonetta is matching a being that has been shown on screen, blast power to actually blast away the moon with his blast power. On screen. Bayonetta being a planet buster is totally believable at this point, right? I mean, one of her strongest summons that she doesn't summon all the time could like bust any planet inside the entire solar system, even big planets like Jupiter, for Pete's sake, you know? So Bayonetta should be in those planet-shattering ranges at least. Instead of facing angels and demons in the newer game, she faces these entities known as the homunculi. To get a good idea of her power is to get an idea of these entities she has to fight throughout the course of this game and to get an idea of how destructive they are. Well, for one, there's like a whole lot of them, but of course there's leaders. There's like avatars of the main guy. Of course, Singularity is the main villain of the game. They apparently got their little old Death Stars. Just look at the stuff like this that can blast with this much force. These things can just blast cities in half like this, making a big old giant crater in the middle of the ocean like this. Bruh, look at that split. Yeah, they just split cities in half like nothing. Summons that Bayonetta confused with, so it's basically her power too. These same things that can blast cities in half, guess what? This mountainside structure, her summons can do stuff like that and move the entire structure with a freaking kick. This giant aerial fortress. More proof that she doesn't have to be fused with the summon to just be a physical powerhouse is the fact that when she uses her summon, the summon gets her punches in, and then she starts punching, showing that she's not dead weight when it comes to her punching power. I mean, she does have summons she can fuse with that weigh 58 tons and stuff. Or summons like Gamora that can weigh up to 5,000 tons, summons she can also fuse with. And despite different summons have different power levels, each summon that she has can compete with one another when it comes to power, strength, speed. Even though they might have different abilities, they can still hang with one another like this. Like Gamora infused Bayonetta, fighting another version of herself with another summon, and they're competing, going blow for blow, kind of like a tie type of thing, showing that these summons are close in strength to some degree with one another. This is a good example right here of how Madama Butterfly, Bayonetta's at the top of her. They're using teamwork just for Bayonetta to show she can punch hard too. Just like that. Not only can she fuse with these beings, get their power and stack on top of her own, but she can even awaken these summons as true power with an ancient ritual spell that we've never seen in other Bayonetta games. Notice this is how Madama Butterfly looks right here, but then her true form, full power unleashed, looks like this, Queen Butterfly. Based on the handbooks in the game, she went from 49 feet tall to 29,000 feet tall. So you know the power level increase was astronomical. Queen Butterfly literally looking like a mountain. Look how small Bayonetta looks in comparison to her size. Was chilling in the clouds in their boss fight in this game. This form of Madama can change size at will, so in some scenes she might look smaller, she might look bigger. Her max size or height is down here, you know. Like in this example, they supposedly say she's bigger than Gamora, but when them two stand side by side here, they don't look that much bigger than one another. Heck, Gamora even looks like he weighs more, you know, so that proves that she can change size. She literally went from 58 tons to 7 billion tons. But I'm unsure if she can fuse with her when she's in this state, though. We only seen her summon her like this. We know she can fuse with her like this, but unsure about this. She would do this crazy ritual spell without eating the outside help, sacrificing her heart somehow, and then I guess putting her heart back because it doesn't kill her when she sacrifices her heart somehow. This is some crazy ritual type stuff. Like, she legit did this several times in the game to summon these overpowered versions of these summons, pulling out her own heart, but not killing herself in the process after the summon is over. You see the blood dripping to summon an extra overpowered version of the form. Madama Butterfly isn't the only summon she did is ripping her heart out to give them more power, unleashing their true form type of thing too. Queen Butterfly is so strong, beings that will be too much for other Bayonettas. She can literally flick these same entities with a finger and they go through multiple mountains just like that. That's easy with a finger. Yeah, we already know Madama weighed similar to the weight of a mountain right here, but what about other summons? She did this to Gamora, her Godzilla summon, transforming this entity into Sin Gamora. Gamora went from weighing 5,000 tons to 1 million tons, aka 1 megaton, with the power to level or flatten a skyscraper. She got to use these as a last resort because it doesn't seem like she can do this forever. It's like a time limit. She's also done this ridiculous spell to the frog type demon entity that she can also fuse with. She can also make it unleash its true form, or one could say its true power. It actually looks pretty tight. Like, this is that frog entity demon's true form, overpowered state. She can even do this heart pulling, blood wrenching ritual thingy to demon spiders to superheat them for a temporary amount of time and then cause a crazy large area of effect explosion that can be seen. An explosion that is this big and can be seen from space, and look at the shockwave spreading across the planet. And when things get really dire, she can summon 2 top-tier summons using her heart and summon them both at the same time, and they both can blast at the same time, like Queen Butterfly and Sin Gamora at the same time. They blast, she blasts, working together, blasted Singularity's first form this bad with that much power, all the way creating a big old shockwave and blast them all the way to space. Singularity had different forms throughout this fight. First form, second form, and final form. And the best way to get an understanding of how strong Bayonetta is to get an idea of how strong this being Singularity is. It's literally stated this form of Singularity is assumed to do battle using the sum of energy absorbed from the systematic destruction of parallel worlds within the multiverse to increase his attack power. So the energy or universes that was destroyed in this game are definitely used for attack power, and they had to fight against a beam struggle power like this, and they won. They even say he can level cities in this form effortlessly, so that's nowhere near his power. That's like an oversimplification. Singularity ended up getting better control of the power, the chaotic energy surging within him, to convert the power harnessed from the severed universes and convert the energy like a powered suit. You gotta remember that there's 2,000 universes at least of different possible Bayonettas and universes, the energy to convert that Singularity had to harness. Bayonetta's fighting a being that had harnessed thousands and thousands of universes. Singularity was literally going from universes, getting different Bayonettas, absorbing their energy within himself. It's already proven that Singularity has already destroyed whole universes. The goal was to even wipe out everything to reality as we know it will be wiped out for good. The homunculi, Singularity, and his minions were spreading throughout the multiverse, destroying it as they go. And this is not a small multiverse either. We're talking about thousands and thousands of different universes. They use the term world and universe as a synonym. Another part of the multiverse, the world that she's from is actually gone, everything in it. So yeah, whole universes were getting destroyed. The homunculi were tearing through the multiverse and there's only a few worlds left. In this particular world, for example, aka universe, Singularity, look how it literally looks like a singularity. That vortex is Singularity absorbing this world's energy. Yeah, so he actually uses the energy to attack with. Because one of the many forms of Singularity literally said uses the energy and harnesses it to increase the destructive power or attack power to the limit. A fallen angel even explained how much power this being was going to do. Talking about the Trinity of realities has the world of chaos. Inferno and Paradiso is only one of those, but when it comes to the world of chaos, aka the human realm, there's like a whole bunch of layers in the multiverse of those, all stacked up together. He was wanting to break the multiverse down, trying to fuse it together and try to pull it off to get their hands on enough power to wipe up the whole Trinity, aka the whole multiverse. Inferno, Paradiso, everything was about to get obliterated if Singularity actually succeeded in getting every single universe absorbed. Just to let you know what Bayonetta and them was actually fighting. Not to mention Singularity absorbed other Bayonettas, dude. This scene right here, you can get an idea of how many different Bayonettas actually existed that was absorbed inside of them. Bayonetta had to fight this. This many was inside of Singularity. This proves that there is a lot of Bayonettas that was inside of him, and Bayonetta had to fight a being that absorbed all of this. You probably wonder why am I bringing all this bull crap up.
Flying to the moon without me.
Fusing with their demons, Demon Masquerade, fusing with Madama Butterfly and Madama Styx, appears that they kicked so hard that they kind of shattered a big piece of the moon or the whole moon possibly, but it's hard to say. It's believable in their masquerade form they can bust the moon effortlessly. They are fighting a being that's a threat to multiple universes, and we have seen moon shattering feats from her dad Balder in the past, so it adds up. I mean, there's no way you can really sugarcoat this with Singularity, and this wasn't his mightiest form, but the fact that he's already got multiple universes sustained in a previous form, and this is a better form, she literally used her striking power to strike some of the power out of him and restore some of the universes somehow. That's why you see the different Bayonettas come out of him like that. She's able to release it just with her striking power. It's proof that Bayonetta literally restored the universes because Singularity even said, I destroyed you and your worlds long ago, but yet they're back and released because she punched them out of him. Singularity even had a greater form. He literally became one with the chaotic energy of the multiverse, having become what could be considered the universe itself. He has gained control over reality. In this game, they called Bayonetta's Archeves. So yeah, just in case you don't know what this means, I'm telling you that. Okay, they're saying he has the ability to access the memories of Archeves, aka Bayonettas, of those other worlds and create projections with comparable power to those other Bayonettas. Why couldn't he just reality warp existence Bayonetta out of existence with a thought or something? She had help from other universes versions of herself, and even they worked together and fused into one Bayonetta for a little while. Yep, they combined. Yeah, I want to know how strong she was temporarily like this to match beams with Singularity like this. It's almost like they borrowed his ability to be able to reality warp themselves together to have more raw power in general. This was definitely temporary, of course. They unfused, of course, but they worked together to pretty much soften him up. These probably the three mightiest Bayonettas in the multiverse anyway. The ones we played with are the main characters in the last 3 games. You can see them all softening up together. As you can see, you're probably thinking Bayonetta's only a threat when she does that deadly sin ritual and pulls her heart out and makes them unleash their true power. This is the only time she's a multiversal threat or a universal threat like this. What if I told you she got in a beam struggle with Singularity in weaker forms like this? You remember Gamora's superpower state? What if I told you in this weaker normal state, Gamora, for example, is a universal beast type of threat, just to let you know, because he had a beam struggle with Singularity without even going into sin mode, blasting Singularity like this, but it took everything she had, of course. Gamora was able to blast Singularity. But yeah, I ain't gonna flex though. She had tons and tons of help. Help from Luca, help from Viola, help from other Bayonettas, help from thousands of other Bayonettas in the multiverse. They all pitched in for a little second or two, pretty much beating a being that had pretty much all control over reality because of the power of friendship. To make matters worse, after they defeat him, he literally turns into a literal singularity black hole to devour that universe they're currently in. Just in case you had your doubts about them not being universe busters, they're literally sucking up the whole planet like a literal black hole. This universe is about to be devoured. Yeah. So even in forms like this, she's still technically a multi-universal level threat that can battle beings that have the attack power harnessed from other universes within their power, and she still can threaten them. Knock the universes out of them, or knock other Bayonetta energies out of him. Like, they're all similar in this regard, but when it comes to other stuff like this is up for speculation. I'm not saying they don't necessarily have that technique of fusing with their demons. We just haven't seen it. So it's a possible they could have it, but for right now, it's absolute proof she can do it, and other variants of her can do it. Honestly, I feel like they probably could do it too when it comes to fusing with the demons. Now, when it comes to unleashing their true power, that's something we only seen this Bayonetta do no matter what. But there's a good chance they all have the same techniques. But for right now, we only know that she got all of this. So she got the edge if I had to give somebody the edge. But at the end of the day, all of this could be just me. What do you guys think? Did you guys enjoy Bayonetta 3? But yeah, before I get going, thanks for the donations, guys. It helps out a lot, believe it or not. Respect Bayonetta, though. I'm glad you are enjoying your time on the channel. Make sure you check out the playlist on the channel to see other How Strong videos. If you like what this channel is offering, make sure you hit that subscribe button, and I will see you guys later.